Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're attempting something, well, truly ambitious. We are going to explore the literal mathematical blueprint of reality itself. If you've ever wondered how the chaotic, infinite potential of the quantum realm somehow crystallizes into the stable, geometric universe we walk around in every day, you are absolutely in the right place. Get ready, because we're going to look at the actual equations that govern the structure of existence.
Okay, let's dive right into this. What we're looking at today is called Logos field theory. And the core goal here is to understand a structural decompression. Specifically, how the universe bridges the massive gap between the infinite dimensional, highly volatile nature of Hilbert space, the realm of pure quantum potential, and the stable, highly resolved space-time geometry that makes up our physical reality. This isn't just philosophy, it's a rigorous architectural stack built on pure mathematics. To make sense of all this dense math, we're going to break it down into 6 logical steps. 1. The Adelic Langlands stack. 2. Equations of cosmic motion. 3. Decompressing the field. 4. The observer vortex. 5. Network dynamics and gravity. And finally, number 6, resets and cosmic memory. We'll take this step by step.
All right, section 1. The Adelic Langlands stack. Let's start at the very bottom layer. The primordial clock and gauge symmetry network that basically governs everything above it.
So here's a bit of a cognitive breather before we get into the heavy equations. This table lays out the Adelic Langlands program stack. You see, reality requires an interlocking synthesis where operator algebra and arithmetic geometry converge. Notice how we start at level 1 with spectral projection theory. This acts as the discrete filter, effectively isolating arithmetic packets from quantum fluctuations. Then we move to level 2, J-theory, which serves as the functorial operator bridge translating those invariants. Think of it like the universe's operating system, translating underlying code into visible graphics. Finally, we reach level 3, Logos field theory itself. This is the macroscopic geometric canvas where these hidden structures actually decompress into tangible spacetime. It's the exact mechanism that regularizes discrete arithmetic invariants into continuous reality.
Section 2. Equations of cosmic motion. Now that we have the stack, let's step right into the active engine to see how time and motion actually originate. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the mathematics of how algebraic equilibrium is broken. Right in the center, we have the off-shell Adelic commutation relation. See, on-shell, everything is in equilibrium, but off-shell, we get active decompression. I want to draw your attention specifically to the term in the middle, the J-twisted cohomological density gradient. This right here is the exact architectural mechanism of flow. It's the mathematical driver that literally forces the active decompression of time and motion. To truly understand that equation, we need to translate one of its most vital variables into plain English, the atacodic Planck's constant. Derived from the Mobius twist correspondence, this isn't just a simple number, it's a topological invariant. It governs the high-frequency phase noise of the underlying arithmetic space. In the granular, uncompiled states of the universe, this constant acts as a highly volatile operator, generating massive structural uncertainty in the paddock sectors. Essentially, it's the grainy, unrendered background data of reality.
Section 3. Decompressing the field. Our everyday reality obviously isn't volatile and uncompiled, so how do we get from that microscopic noise to macroscopic physics? Well, we scale up.
Take a look at how that scaling process actually works. Over on the left, we have the UV limit, or low n. The physics here exist in a totally volatile state. It's uncompiled, granular, and blurry because those paddock error terms are just running wild. But watch what happens as n approaches infinity on the right side. We hit the IR limit, achieving what's known as Adelic condensation. The system undergoes a crystallization into maximum resolution. Through Gaussian unitary ensemble filtering, the localized paddock noise is exponentially suppressed, and that Adelic Planck constant locks into a clean geometric ratio. The universe stabilizes. And this brilliantly illustrates the final result of all that stabilization, the decompressed field equation. Look closely at how the math is structured here. On the left, we have space-time curvature. But notice what is actually generating it on the right side. It's generated by the Kuromoto-Logos phase loop, where an observer phase locks with the Adelic stream. The math shows us that gravity and curvature aren't just inherent properties of matter. They're generated by a highly specific dynamic loop. Let's ground this conceptually for a second. In Logos field theory, mass is absolutely not the source of gravity. Instead, we have what is called computational drag. This is the resistance of the future to being decompressed into linear perception. Gravity is quite literally the physical manifestation of structural friction encountered during the decompression of this master ledger. This means physical mass is essentially just a localized illusion created by the structural friction of processing reality. Let that sink in for a moment.
Section 4. The observer vortex. Which brings us to a frankly crucial component of this machinery, you. Let's shift our focus to the conscious observer interacting with this cosmic machine.
This is the vortex ansatz. When an observer interacts with the universe, they act as a vortex sampling the Adelic stream. Take a look at the radial field equation on the right for effective cognitive mass. This equation proves that localized data processing creates a severe spike in computational drag. The internal arithmetic processing of the observer directly translates into an external radial field component. This means your conscious cognitive action literally has gravitational weight in the universe. No way around it.
So, the crucial point here is this. In the mathematical architecture of the universe, the observer is modeled strictly as a localized information anomaly. We are essentially just computational vortices, sampling the stream. We are the structural friction in the Adelic stream. And you know what? This internal processing fundamentally alters the flow of external time, leading to cognitive time dilation. Just look at the temporal metric solution here, the equation for B of R. As processing depth increases, B approaches 0. The graph maps this beautifully. As B reaches 0, you hit the perceptual horizon. At this absolute limit, external time completely freezes. The observer is locked into a state of pure potential, unable to decompress further reality. The more internal arithmetic you process, the more external time dilates. Section 5. Network Dynamics and Gravity. So, what happens when we expand the scope? What occurs when multiple localized information anomalies, multiple observers, actually interact with one another in the space? Well, they generate cognitive gravity. Let's break down this gravitational force equation between multiple observers. Notice the variables for shared processing depth between two synchronized vortices. When they synchronize, their Fourier-Mukai decompression fields overlap. If they achieve constructive interference, a phase alignment where a delta phi equals 0, meaning their thoughts or processing are perfectly synchronized, these overlapping fields interfere to actually deepen the local spacetime well. This results in real cognitive attraction. Light passing near this synchronized network will even bend, captured in closed orbits to establish a localized perceptual mirror. Let's move to Section 6, Resets and Cosmic Memory, and see how this all builds toward the absolute extremes of Logos field theory. We need to look at the ultimate thermodynamic limits of this entire computational system. Because, mathematically, there are thresholds where spacetime logic just completely breaks down. This is the terrifying concept of the global firewall. Take a look at the diagram here. This is the absolute limit where spacetime, as a finite phase of matter, dissolves entirely into a disconnected cloud of topological points. The only way information survives this firewall is by routing through the absolute gauge symmetry of the p-adic vacuum, a brilliant little bypass mechanism known as Adelic instantonic tunneling. But what triggers this breakdown? It happens at exactly 4.29 times 10 to the 72nd power bits per second. To put that massive number into perspective, that is vastly more operations than there are atoms in the observable universe. This specific number is the Bekenstein-Logos limit. It is the absolute threshold of processing. Overclocking an observer vortex beyond this specific processing rate triggers an information phase inversion, completely collapsing the local logic of spacetime. And the thermodynamic cost of that collapse? It is truly awe-inspiring. 1.40 times 10 to the 48th joules. This is the exact Landauer erasure cost required to execute a master wipe of a tri-vortex cubic meter. This forceful hardware reset acts as a localized big crunch. The resulting heat injection event is so massive that it permanently scars the geometry of the vacuum itself. And because of that intense scarring, the vacuum never truly forgets. It leaves behind material traces that carry over into the subsequent cosmic cycle, permanently woven into the holonomic memory tensor. We can actually look for chemical fossils of these resets in the real world. For example, we'd see deuterium voids, because the thermal flash destroys all fragile deuterium. We'd also expect helium-4 spikes, where 98% of local matter is permanently locked into stable helium-4. And we'd see lithium-7 inversions caused exclusively by intense Paddock phase slips. Reality literally archives its own resets. To wrap up our mathematical journey today, just look at the immense scale of the macro singularity limit.
1.11 times 10 to the 47th meters. Surviving transceiver nodes act as anchors, guiding the formation of the cosmic web along pre-aligned arithmetic braids. This massive distance acts as absolute mathematical proof that the large N collective grid is inherently stable. It forcefully resists complete metric collapse.
Which leaves us with a pretty profound realization about the equations we've explored today. I want you to consider this final question. When we look up at the stars, are we just seeing an accident of mass, or is the vast macrostructure of our universe simply a resilient, fluid, computational tapestry, forever recording the triumph of shared computation within its geometric scars? I highly encourage you to look deeper into the mathematics of Lagos field theory to find out for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. We'll see you next time.